Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So I have purple yellow crocodile for you, or Lakers croc, a lot of people call him. He definitely is not a great deck this format, especially with blue purple Luffy being so dominant. But if you ever want to play like an off meta deck or surprise your opponents, he is pretty fun. Obviously O Come Away or O Come My Way combined with Kiku Nojo still catches people off guard. I know that you really have the element of surprise when you're playing this deck, and yeah, I just wanted to give him a shot again. Being able to ramp up to Crocodile and Yamato in the late game, some decks just can't deal with him. So yeah, going through the deck list here, most of the list is pretty stable just because Crocodile didn't get a lot of support in the recent sets, but we're all obviously going to run 4 Crocs and 2 Yamatos in the late game. You could bump her up to 4 or 3 and then cut the Linlin down to 3, but I wanted to make sure that we have a 7 Dawn play just because a lot of matches you actually ramp up to 7 and then it gets pretty awkward, like what you should do from there. Like, yeah, unless you have Bond Clay into Kiku Nojo, your 7 down plays are a little awkward. So I also decided to throw in Zoro in this build just because Miss Wednesday, it felt like you either draw this card or you just don't ramp consistently enough. So I just wanted to add in another card to help with the ramp, especially going first, because a lot of decks like to go second now. So if you're forced to go first, at least you'll be able to drop the Zoro if you don't find Miss Wednesday. But yeah, other than that, Linlin and Crocodile is really going to be your go-to plays late game. Obviously, Yamato is very situational, but yeah, these two are going to be applying the most pressure. So enough of the deck list, let's just hop into the gameplay and then I'll show you how this deck runs. Okay, so first game I got for you is going to be against blue-yellow Nami here. Blue-yellow Nami obviously is one of the tougher decks, and I'm actually surprised this deck was able to hang on in this match. But I think we're going second. We are. So he starts off with a teach and then deciding not to swing in with the teach ability, I think, because most likely we were going to take the first swing anyways. So I try to just poke out resources while I can, just poking in 5s, because even if I play Bond Clay first and swung 6, he could just leader ability anyway, so there's really no point. But yeah, I was deciding whether to play the Zoro or the Bond Clay, but obviously Bond Clay guarantees us a ramp, so we decided to go with that. And then yeah, Nami is notorious for being able to remove like 5 costs or lower, like really easily, because they have 4 Zeuses, they have the Nohikos, and then some Nami builds are also running like Jozus. And so yeah, it's really good that we played the Bond Clay there so that we guarantee the ramp from his on play. And then he actually swings in with the teach here. I decide to counter out. I'm not trying to take free life, especially because we're getting to the later stages of the game. So if he decides to swing heavier, I'd rather take those heavier swings than a 5k poke. But honestly, this game is looking a little grim already just because he has a ton of cards in hand. Yeah, I decided not to take that one because I figured that he would play a card that would be able to rip my life. So I didn't want to take 2 life there. And then Crocodile was really nice, just being able to heal. And I decide not to turn my character sideways just yet, just because if he swings in with the Nico Robin, I want to be able to fight for board as much as I can. Maybe there was some merit to turn my Kiku sideways, just because if he killed her, then I'd be able to heal. But yeah, I just opted not to. I'd rather fight for board. So I think he has 8 Dawn to work with here. He could drop like the Kid, the... what is it? The Rush Luffy or Katakuri this turn. Most Namis are running. And it is the Rush Luffy. So I think here he just bounces the Bond Clay because we're going to be at 10 Dawn anyways. And then I probably Blast Breath here, if I'm not mistaken. I decided not to use the Crocodile ability because I want the Dawn back and I want to go up to 10 Dawn next turn. But yeah, he swings in 6 ad lead, or 6 with his leader. Couldn't counter out of that one. And then swinging in 5 at lead here. We were able to get a leader ability out of that one, so I used Kiku to swing into the Nico Robin here. Being able to get another counter is super nice. I think I decide what to do here. I probably end up playing the Kiku and Bond Clay just because oh, I actually end up Yamatoing. I guess that's the same. Yeah, right, because I have the Kiku on board already. There's no point in developing another one. It's just because O Come My Way is able to heal off of any like attack redirects, pointing it at Kiku if he swings too tall. So I decide to Dawn down here. I don't mind too much. And then I end up ripping the O Come My Way right away on the Kiku in hopes that he'll start targeting my Crocodile instead, just so he has to invest Dawn to swing into 9k instead of continuously swinging 5s or swing into 5k. Yeah, because if he did that, then it's really just a resource game and we're able to swing into his board. With only 4 cards left in hand, he's not going to be able to defend his board too well. But he decides to load up his Luffy here, swinging in 13 into the Crocodile. At this point, now he only has 2 cards in hand and not pressuring life. I think he's just going to swing 1 more card in, or 1 more swing into my life, which I have to take, and bring him up to 3 cards in hand. So with that, we should be able to pressure out or pressure off both of his bodies on board here. So I swing in 6 into the Nico Robin first. I wanted to guarantee that that we can get rid of all of his bodies on board, but he actually decides to defend his Nico Robin here. And maybe I should have swung 11 here just to see if he had 2 2Ks. But we end up, yeah, deciding against it. And I think I swing in 10-10, if I'm not mistaken. So this way we're able to get these 2 off of the board thanks to the Usohachi. And then it ends up being a grind game. Yeah, because there's no way that he can defend out of this one. So obviously if he swung into anything on board now, he's guaranteed to have it. And it's really up to us to try to pressure his life as much as we can. Good news is that he has to use 4 Dawn to get rid of the Crocodile there. And then I just decide not to leader or Crocodile ability because we're just going to ditch whatever we draw anyways. And this is a really good top deck for us, the Blast Breath. So we're able to defend like Yamato or Kiku if he decides to swing into them. But he does hit the Beige out of life. which means that we can't pressure him with this Yamato. So the 7 will always connect, and then swing 9, because that will always connect unless he uses his blocker. And I think we just end up, yeah, making sure that our Kiku doesn't die. But yeah, I think if he wanted to guarantee the Kiku dying, he needed to attach 5 to his leader here, and then swinging in to the Kiku. But to be on the safe side, when you're at this point of the game where you're down to the wire, it matters more about swings on board. So it doesn't matter about how strong each one is necessarily. Obviously there's caveats to that, but to guarantee that a body drops off the board, you should prioritize the smaller one first, and then use the remaining Dawn to swing into the taller bodies, if you have enough Dawn to work with. So I think he decides what to do here, and this is what I'm talking about. He swings in 7 at the Kiku, which I decide to counter out of, because now realistically he only has enough for one swing to get rid of either Kiku or Usohachi, versus if he wanted to get rid of 2 bodies here, he could have swung 5 into Usohachi, making me decide whether or not it's worth using the Blast Breath, and still having 10 Dawn to swing into the Kiku. So yeah, basically just drying him out of resources here. I decide to ignore the Hiyori here, just because if he needs to attach that much Dawn to get cards out of us, then that's totally fine by us. And then I think I end up swinging, no way I swing 7 here, right? Imagine it's a 9k swing, because this will always connect, or unless he uses the blocker law here. And then we have enough Dawn to actually swing in 9 with the Usohachi. So I was debating whether or not I should swing into the Hiyori, but I think it's more important that we pressure him to force him to answer our board versus playing it safe there. Because even if he clears both of our bodies, he would need a lot of Dawn to do so. And then if needed, we can always swing twice with the leader and Shiroshi next turn anyways. So yeah, he decides to start drawing with the Nami here, and then most likely gonna swing into the Yamato or Usohachi. Yeah, so 3 into Usohachi, I decide to give, because if I blocked with the Shiroshi, he could have swung in again anyways. But yeah, at this point, it's just simple 12-12, because he's gonna have to block out of one of them. And then if he's able to counter out, then he has to use his entire hand to do so if he had all 2Ks. And then next turn, we still have the Shiroshi standing, so we could go for lethal anyways. So I go for 12-12, and we're able to scrape out a win against blue-yellow Nami. Okay, so next game I got for you is going to be against green Jinbe. So Jinbe obviously is not a powerful leader or anything, but he is still pretty solid in the non-meta leader pool. And yeah, we're forced to go second, which is fine because we have the Bond Clay. And then again, you're gonna see why Linlin is so strong, because turn 4 we're able to drop the Bond Clay and then ramp up to 5, and the following turn we'll just drop Linlin. So swinging in 8 at lead, there's no reason to counter out of that one. and then just dropping the Bond Clay here. And then, yeah, in his 5 Dawn turn, it's scary if they have like Fisher Tiger. He's able to rest your Bond Clay and just swing into him for free. But luckily for us, he didn't have it. He had the 3-drop Arlong. And then we're able to just pressure him with the 5k swing and then use Lin to force him to either rip a life or give us a life there. But honestly, I'm surprised he's taking these 5k swings because Jinbe is really tanky as a leader because he runs a bunch of supports with his leader ability being able to restand. Yeah, there's actually no reason for him to be taking these 5k swings, but he answers with a Jinbe, being able to rest down our Bond Clay and then swing into him. I think here I decide whether I should play the Crocodile or another Lin. Honestly, I think I just play the other Lin, and I do, because we have enough Dawn to play the Shiroshi as well. But I decide not to play the Shiroshi for some reason. I think I just wanted to leave up the Dawn to counter with Blast Breath. Yeah, because against Jinbe, he has so many cards that can rest down your blockers. I think it would be safer to hold on to the Blast Breath there and keep the Shiroshi as counter. So he plays down the 4-drop Arlong, which freezes our leader for 1 turn. And then with the character rush, thanks to Jinbe, I think he just swings an 8/8 into Lin here. Really just taxing cards out of hand. So yeah, minimum swing. We're obviously just going to counter out of that one. And then I decide to take this other 5k swing because I value the Lin on board more than anything. And so here I just start pressuring life. I might have just been able to swing 9/9 instead, because we have the Crocodile coming. But I think I wanted to guarantee in case he used like Hody Jones and rested my 2 Dawn, the 8-drop Crocodile would be able to restand it for us. But yeah, to that point, if he were to Hody Jones, there was no way for him to really survive next turn anyway. So I think the right play was to just swing 9/9 that previous turn. So he does answer board here with 2 Vanders, which is a little scary. But we're so healthy that I don't even... Yeah, that I'm not even scared of dying here. So I use the 1-cost event, being able to get out of the first 7k swing, and I take the second 7k swing because he's going to swing 1 more time. And then, yeah, I think it's just a matter of splitting our Dawn here, right? We should be able to win within 11-13. But I wanted to play it safe because he has the 1 Dawn up. Yeah, so it looks like it wasn't guaranteed because against Jinbe, they do run so much counter that that you're never really in lethal range unless you calculate for that. So yeah, I decided to make the safe play there, just playing down Crocodile again, healing another card, and at this point there's really no way for him to push for lethal, right? He only has 3 swings on board, and with 2 life, all we have to do is counter out of one of these. Yeah, so I use one of the Crocodile's ability to filter out the brick, and then we were able to grab a 2k out of it, which is super nice. And then countering out of the first swing means that next turn should be GG's here. So with 5k, or yeah, with 5 Dawn for 6k power, I would have just attached everything to his leader to try to get rid of the Crocodile. It wouldn't have mattered anyways, because he would have been able to, or we would have been able to counter out of it, but that definitely would have been better odds for him. But yeah, let's just hop over to the next match. All right. So the last match I have for you is going to be against green yellow Shiroshi. So she is definitely a cope deck. I don't think this leader is very powerful, but obviously Lakers Croc being able to take her out as well. So starting off this game, she starts off with the Shiroshi of her own, and then being able to cheat out the Lord of the Coast. And then we answer with our own Shiroshi. And I didn't want any like annoying bodies coming out of her that we couldn't remove later, so I decided to Zeus early to get rid of the Tashigi. And then I said, you know what, let's just get rid of both of his bodies here, because our hand looks so atrocious that I wanted to draw for more resources. So this turn, obviously just going to be swinging into board as much as we can. And then with 7 Dawn, we're probably just going to drop the Linlin. Oh, I actually decided not to drop the Linlin. I think I was afraid of dying if he decided to rip his own life and then like drop Hodies. And he did have a Hodie, so I think I made the right call there. Because the Linlin obviously would have been too slow, and he would have been able to pressure like 2 life out of us that last turn. So I tried to exhaust all of his swings here, so that we can crack back with the Bond Clay next turn. So yeah, I think here we have 5 Dawn to play with, so we could drop down the Yamato to kill his blocker, or we could play the Linlin. And I think the optimal play would be to just start pressuring life. And so he ends up healing us here, if I'm not mistaken. And he does. So I think, yeah, definitely probably start off with yeah, looking back here, I would have started off with the 5k swing just to see if he turned the Chrono Mage sideways. But he ended up blocking anyways, so it was good for us. I think that could have been played a little more optimally. But yeah, lucky for us, we were able to get 2 of his blockers off the board there. And then, yeah, Lord of the Coast being able to stun my Bond Clay, and then Cammy actually was really clutch, because if I played the Kiku here, I would have ripped myself of another life, and then he would have been able to just really start pressuring us. And I figured that if I used the O Come My Way for the Kiku afterwards, it would be the same result if I were to just not rip the Kiku trigger. So I end up taking one of the hits here. I just wanted to draw a little bit. And then thanks to the Kiku Nojo with the O Come My Way combo, we're feeling pretty good. I think at this point, we're probably just going to play the Kiku and then use our Dawn to try to swing into his board. So swinging in 8 into 9, it's good for us. He actually lets that go. And so I swing in another 9 into his 8. And him letting that go as well feels really good, because now we're not like too pressured about dying next turn. Obviously he's just gonna swing into our Bond Clay now. And then I decided to give him a 2k here. If I had a 1k, that would have been better, because he would have swung 6k into it anyways, because that has to leave the board. I think, can't remember if I decided to keep this. I think I take this hit here, because next turn, especially because his leader can't swing, he won't be able to defend his board really well, or won't be able to pressure life really well. Sorry, I misspoke there. But yeah, swinging in 5, trying to see how many cards I can tax out of him right now. But I think I end up playing the Linlin here, because in his shoes, he probably thinks that he has enough to go for lethal. So I pressure him a 6 and a 5, and then play down the Linlin, and then he rips a card here. So I wanted to play around the Hody. If he had another Hody and I went down to 1 Dawn, he would be able to rest both of my Dawn. But this is why it's really important to know what all these rogue decks do, because I mean, even if he split his Dawn, he wouldn't have gotten it anyways, but just being able to play around stuff like this. So he attached all of his Dawn to his Shanks, and then obviously this Oh Come My Way is going to redirect it to Kiku, and now he's forced to only play with 1 Dawn, first of all, but he only has 1 more swing to work with, right? So just knowing like the ins and outs of certain decks is really important. But I decide not to go to 0 in case something funny happens. But he only has 3 cards left in hand. I think I start off with a 9, because you're either giving me your entire hand or this connects. But afterwards, I just had too much power on board, and we were able to take this one away. So yeah, Lakers Croc is able to play like off meta. Like if you have like an off meta Monday or something at your locals, I think he's a really fun deck to play. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.